My apprentice Steve Miller loves my little Kalamazoo K-11. That was sort of an entry-level guitar that Gibson made in the 30s. This one's a 1937. That had all the same appointments as its big brother Gibson's, but it was ladder braced, not X'd. Mine has the same sunburst as a J35 that I once owned, and the neck's the same feel, it's the same neck. Today these guitars are in high demand by good players. They're really appreciated and could bring several $1,000s if you can find one. And normally they don't come in very good shape because it had a cheap case and wasn't well taken care of. So Steve's gonna make one for himself, copying my guitar, and I'm gonna show him this morning how to draw a building pattern from it. And I think you'll like it.
Well, it took a little bit of convincing to get Dan to let me take the strings off his guitar, but they're off and we're ready to trace it out. We've got some tracing vellum here that we bought at the local bookstore. It's clear like tracing paper, but it's thick enough to be workable. So what we're gonna do is draw a center line on it. And once we have that, I'm gonna mark an outline for the fretboard extension and the bridge, because we want this piece of paper to sit flat down against the top. And it doesn't have to be a super exact thing. We just need it to be cleared so it can sit flat. I'm going to cut them out with an X-Acto knife and a straight edge. And so that's looking pretty good right there. And now that it's flat, I'm going to mark out the sound hole location and trace out the profile. But I'd like to tape the paper in place so that it doesn't move when I'm doing that. So I'm using this low tack tape. This tape will have a lot of uses throughout this process. A lot of times on these vintage guitars, the finish can be checked in coming apart. And if you use a stronger adhesive, you could end up taking some of that finish off. So now I have this X-Acto knife with a fresh blade in it, and I can cut around very carefully around the profile to try and get a really close shape. So now I'm going to trace around the sound hole. Take that off and cut it. You can use something that's close to the circumference of the sound hole, like we have this roll of tape here. There it is. And I'm going to tape it in place because we don't want it to move for the next step, which is locating and tracing the braces, the bridge pad, and the neck block. And to do that, we've got these 2 1/2-inch guitar repair magnets. We'll have one on the outside and one's going to go on the inside here. I do have a nifty little LED light and mirror in there as well to help me see. And right there, I'm flat against the brace, I'm up against the side, and I can make a little mark where the profile of the brace is sitting. I'll bring it over to the other side of the brace and mark that. And then slide the magnets down to the other end of the guitar and mark both sides of the brace there as well. As Dan mentioned, this guitar is ladder braced as opposed to X braced, having 4 braces in total. So I'm going to go through with my magnets. Precisely and patiently, I'm going to locate and mark each individual brace. Once I connect the dots with a straight edge, I can clearly see those top braces. Next, I'll flip the tracing paper, tape it to the back side of the guitar, and pretty much do the exact same thing to locate the back braces. There's 3 total. So once again, I've connected the dots and have an outline of the back braces. The tracing paper is translucent, so they can get muddled together with the top braces, but I've marked them with B's so I can tell them apart. My next step would be to trace this onto a thicker piece of poster board, so then I'd have a stiffer template with smoother edges. That will make it much easier to trace onto a piece of wood, build my braces, and put together the top and the back of my very own Kalamazoo.
Yeah, Steve, I'm looking forward to you building one too so I can get mine back. It's not that I don't love this 1940 J35. I love it, and it's wonderful, but it's kind of big for a little guy like me. That's why this little sweetheart is my favorite. Let's give him one.
All right.